Technology. So at some point, doesn't matter if your child's 6 months old to 16 years old, there is technology, there's screens, there is something going on, right? For most houses in America. Whether it's an iPad, a Kindle, a phone, TV, Xbox, Wii, some gaming unit, there is a screen that most of us as parents are struggling with regulating time and reining in our children from wanting to be on it all the time. Of course, every child is different and every family, house, and culture is different. But for the most part, there is some consistency across the board of just this struggle with screen time and how it is affecting our children and today's culture. As far as what people think about technology, I certainly believe that it is a positive, it is a good thing, it has done many good things, but there's also some negative that come with it. As you might already know, in the DSM, there is now video game addiction as a diagnosis. So there has been tons of studies, tons of research done that screens, some technology definitely can become an addictive issue. There are many studies saying that, and all the likes or comments on social media is as addicting as a drug. It is releasing the dopamine. You feel good every time you see that like on your picture or a comment on your post or whatever it may be. And it's definitely something that is addictive for kids. And even us as adults, we are not immune to feeling addicted to that interaction and that attention that social media can draw. But for tonight, I definitely want to just talk about and focus on children and what we can do as parents, because at least I know the many parents that I see in counseling and just in my circle of life, it is a struggle. It is a struggle to have our kids do things other than wanting to be on their iPads or Xboxes. There are struggles to just having our children know how to connect socially, to be able to make friendships, to talk one-on-one, face-to-face. I say to my husband all the time, our children will never know what it's like to be wrapped around in that long phone cord from the phone that's hanging on the wall. That's just not our culture nowadays. Some kids don't have any idea what it's like to have a home phone. To them, phones are cell phones. Not to mention not even knowing what a payphone is. So definitely a new culture in this world of technology. Lots of good, but there's definitely some negative. And things that I think as parents, when we think about parenting well, we want to think about what is our goal. What is our goal for our children? And I would assume that many of us want our children to be able to communicate, to talk, to establish relationships, to make friendships, and to do it in a way that is not just through Snapchat or Facebook or messaging. That it's something that can be cultivated with the one-on-one experiences of building relationships and the fundamentals that it takes to connect with people. It takes way more than to just, have that false sense of security and confidence by typing something to somebody than it is to talk to someone in person and to say how you're feeling. So we want to be able to raise children to be able to stand up for themselves, to express their feelings appropriately, to be able to make and build friendships, and to be able to foster that connection that only can come in a genuine form that is one-on-one, face-to-face, and in-person and in-life experiences. Of course, that is not to say that you can't have any kind of connection over the internet and social media platforms. But again, focusing on that, we can't fight and argue the fact that most of our communication is nonverbal. There is so much to say of what it's like to be with someone and to interact and to see how their body posture is and how they're responding and their facial expression and what they're saying. Some studies say that it's a 93% success rate of successfully understanding what the other person is saying because of nonverbals. That nonverbals give you a 93% success in understanding what someone's saying. So then you can imagine why there is so much falling out with texting, or people misinterpreting what you're trying to say, or misreading the tone in what your text is, or messages, right? So words alone do not help enhance the success of your communication. A lot of it, 93% according to this study, certainly is due to the nonverbals, the things that you can only see and have in person. So as far as thinking about this as a goal for parenting, that we want to foster relationship building in our children, and that we want to foster the skills and ability to be able to communicate and to build relationships and to not be isolated by technology and to get caught in this cyber world of friends or connections, we want to think about, what is important, what are rules in which we should have in the home. Obviously, limiting the amount of screen time is something that most people can agree that would make sense, right? So whether it's a certain amount of time during each day or weekends and not school nights, such as that, obviously all varies depending on the age of your children. But just having a limited amount of time of screen time, having rules around that when you're at dinner, maybe no phones, no computers, no iPads, that you talk with each other in a family without people having their nose into the phone or looking at their phones. Even having like a media fast or being unplugged. So having a set time where everyone in the family, parents included, no TVs or no phones, no computers, no video games, things like that, where you are welcoming the media fast or unplugging. Number 3, so these are 5 ideas to keep your children from replacing real connection with technology, just so you can follow me here. So number 3, avoiding the use of technology in place of conversation. So this would mean kind of what I was saying before, that, maybe when you want to say something to your friends, maybe pick up a phone and call them instead of just messaging. Or, for instance, I don't know if you guys have ever been guilty of this, but instead of maybe being upstairs and you need to ask your parents or your sibling something, you don't just text them. You actually walk down the stairs and talk with them, right? So not replacing technology with actual communication in person. Number 4, just having time that you actually set apart for quiet, for silence, right? I think especially for younger kids, they just don't understand how to be bored. They have no idea what to do when they're bored. And I think that it is incredibly important for children to be bored, because when children are bored, that's when they're pushed to use their imaginations and to get creative. And I think that the technology really gives them a disadvantage, because technology is just this constant stimulus that is engaging them nonstop at a pace that regular human interaction can't really compete with, right? So, when you're scrolling on Facebook or playing a video game, it's that constant stimulus. Your neurotransmitters are firing, dopamine's being released. There's all this going on that then, of course, can lead down the road of addiction, but also can lead down the road of when you're just maybe outside playing, or you just have a friend over and you're just kind of building blocks or coloring or, hanging out and watching a show together. It's boring, because you're not being stimulated as much as you are with technology. And that's a problem. Children need to be bored. I don't care if they're 3 years old, 10 years old, or 16 years old. You need to learn to be bored. You need to learn to be able to handle silence and to just be introspective for a little bit, to sit with yourself for a little bit, to learn how to rest your mind. So I think that that's really important, to be able to just program, to schedule in some time of silence. So as a parent, we can control some of the time that our children spend. So maybe, when they're younger and maybe you have a timeout when they're naughty, that now you have kind of a timeout from just stimulation and have them maybe read a book or do a puzzle or do something that's quiet, and that they have to use a different part of their brain to be creative, to be involved with what they tangibly can see and hold, and utilize the creative sense, their imagination, rather than obviously the stimulation of technology. And lastly, be aware of the media isolation. So again, not isolating yourself to, you know, be so consumed with, as soon as you get home, you got to go up and play video games, or you got to get on your iPad or on your phone, and you're cutting out your family or your friends and the rest of the world because you're just isolating yourself from everything and anything besides the technology that you're engaged with. So those are 5 key things that you can do to help have your children not replace technology with cultivating relationships. Another thing I just want to touch on, because of course technology is a big, huge topic. We can go all night with this, but of course I want to just respect your time and keep this short. But I want to talk to parents with teenagers. Technology is so incredibly influential in their future. And I think children can't think 5 minutes ahead of what their future might be, right? They're very much in the moment. Teenagers, we all were that once. And if you're raising one, you know what it's like. They are just all about the moment, what they feel in the moment, what's happening in the moment. If their friend's mad at them, if their friend's upset with them, and whoever they're dating just broke up with them, or do they have the best clothes, or are they driving the nicest car, and are they on that sports team or varsity? Everything is about what's going on in that moment. In social media, as good as it can be very harmful too, if children are not guided and parented in a way for them to recognize that whatever they do on social media is going to follow them. And I don't think that they're able to even understand or think about that, because it's just about the moment, what they want to share, what pictures they want to, share with their friends, or what comments they want to make. And they're not realizing that this can definitely affect them. There was studies done, and it says that 70% of colleges actually look on Facebook during the application process to see what type of student that child that's applying to their school might be before accepting them into college. That is huge. 70% of colleges. That is something to be said, that they're trying to look at the character of the people applying to their college and who they want to bring into their college. And then 40% of Fortune 500 companies look on social media of applicants applying for a job. Again, kids aren't thinking about their future careers, their future college application. They aren't thinking about what they're posting on Facebook might affect them in the future. And it is important for us as parents to certainly educate them on that and help them make wise choices as to what they're posting. So 5 questions that you can help them to think about before they post anything are these. First, ask, does this clearly communicate who I am? Does this post or picture clearly communicate who I am? Second, does this compromise my faith or my moral standard? Is what I'm posting going to compromise my faith or moral standard? Thirdly, do I want this to always be associated with me? Do I want this post or this picture to always be associated with who I am? Fourthly, am I writing this just because I'm angry or I'm hurt? And lastly, would I want my future spouse to see this? I think that these questions can absolutely help at least the child, the teenager, think in the moment, okay, what are the answers to these questions? And do I really want to post that? It helps them think outside of the moment. It helps them think about future. It helps them think about, is this what I want to be presenting to my future self? Is this what I want to be known about my future self? And to help them just really think about that. There's so much more we can talk about, and maybe I'll even do a part 2, honestly, on technology, because we can also get into the teens and the whole sexting and the issues with how people are just transferring these pictures that are just compromising their integrity and their private life and their vulnerabilities. So, I just wanted to bring this out there, help you guys think about this. As parents, I think sometimes we get stuck in what other parents are doing and what everyone else is doing and what the norm is and who's getting iPhones and should I get an iPhone for my child and what's appropriate, what age is appropriate, when is it okay, and all of these questions. And I think that we need to just think through these. And what are your goals for your children? What is the goal of you and your parenting for what you want your child to be set up for in the future? So I hope that was helpful. I hope these 5 questions and 5 ways to try and not break human connection with technology. We're helpful for you. Of course, throw me your questions. This is a big topic, parenting, technology, and of course other topics I'll be doing in the future. Love your questions. I would love to be able to focus it on what you guys are struggling with or what you have questions about, to be able to bring those to everybody and to share those and to get feedback from you guys. So I look forward to seeing you guys next week. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And until then, have a good night. Bye.